In 1996, when I was just 8 years old, my favorite rapper was murdered that same year. For many, Tupac Amaru Shakur was more than just a rapper, he was the friend and the brother we wish we all had. As a young black man, they say our life expectancy compared to others is much lower, and Pac's death would remind us of that, as his life will get cut short at just the age of 25. 27 years later, his family finally gets closer to the answer on why the legend would lose his life. A man who prosecutors say ordered the killing of the iconic rapper was arrested and charged with murder this past Friday. The question of who killed Tupac has been one of hip-hop's long-running mysteries since the incident happened back in 1996. According to AP News, Dwayne Davis, also known as Keefe, is one of 4 suspects. Although Davis isn't the accused gunman, he has been identified as the group's ringleader by authorities. Las Vegas officer Lieutenant Jason Johansson would say Dwayne Davis was the shot caller for this group of individuals that committed this crime, and he orchestrated the plan that was carried out. Through interviews and his own 2019 memoir, Compton Street Legend, Davis admitted he provided the gun that was used, and according to authorities, it was the very admission that revived the investigation. Now, ABC News will report that Davis is the only living suspect in the homicide. Johansson would note that the charge of murder does not have a statute of limitations. I had the chance to speak with Tupac's brother, Mopreme Shakur, to try to uncover and bring closure to one of hip-hop's biggest questions and how his family plans to move forward. Joining us, we have Mr. Mopreme Shakur. How are you doing today?
I'm hanging tough, my man. You know, rolling with the punches.
Yeah. What's kind of been the most difficult part of this process for you?
Most difficult part is reliving the trauma, the memories, exactly what happened, and dredging through the mud. You know, um, we've had a long time to think about it. You dig?
Yeah. Did you kind of put it at peace in the past, kind of like you made peace with it and not expecting that someone would be directly connected to the killing of your brother?
Well, it's all a part of the stress and trauma maintenance. You know what I mean? We hadn't been getting any answers, so the family, has had to find ways to deal with it and be able to live and go on and try to live a regular life
Yeah.
after such, traumatic experiences, especially without any resolution or accountability. So some accountability is good, but we're gonna see.
You know, the last time you came on our platform, we did have a person that was directly connected to it. They have now been indicted for the murder of Tupac, and that is Keefe D. You know, your reaction to seeing that it got to this point, what was your instant reaction? How did you find out about the news?
Well, I had first saw, like everybody else, the raid on Keefe D's house in Vegas, and that was a surprise to me, just like everybody else. I had no prior communication with Las Vegas law enforcement, you know. And then eventually they reached out after I did an interview on CNN. After I did the CNN interview, because people were asking about it, then Las Vegas law enforcement started reaching out to me and the family, trying to, act like they were updating us on the case or whatever, but they had not done so for the past 27 years. So, I'm like, this guy's been out there, spreading his version of the story. I was assuming that Las Vegas was, doing their job and trying to solve it and following up on shit. But all of
Yeah.
a sudden, here we are.
You know,
So
it's interesting because we also have, you know, there's another rapper's killing that's connected, which is Biggie. And for a long time, and even for Biggie, we still don't know who exactly did it. Do you think the fact that Pac was a black man is the reason why it took 27 years to identify a person connected or make some type of arrest at all?
I think it's the perfect storm. That part of it, us being young black men, is That's there automatically, right? And then you have the special circumstances of who Pac is, who Pac was, the level of the game he was at. You know, there's a lot of variables there.
Right. Understood. Now, this isn't the first time that we're actually hearing from the family's reaction. There was a quote that went out that I believe it came from yourself, and definitely correct me if I'm wrong. It says, "So why now? For us, this is not over. We want to know why and if there were any accomplices." I think that was a statement from your sister or yourself.
Yeah, I think that was me. Yeah,
Okay.
who were the accomplices, if there were some, which I think they were,
Right.
and the motives.
And that's where I was going to ask if you believe that there were other people involved beyond the people in the car. Is that your kind of like suspicion of like there was an ultimately hit ordered on Pac?
Well, I mean, I'm fortunate enough to have my freedom. I consume media. I consume social media a little bit. You know, I've seen interviews and these interviews that they speak of that they used to land this indictment on this dude. I've seen him, and he's saying things in these interviews that I got questions about.
Correct.
And he mentions certain people that are, maybe accomplices. And so at this point in the game, somebody's, they're making someone accountable. Now, are they going to make everyone that he's talking about that they're using to drop this indictment accountable?
Okay, the person that we're hearing about it, just from this has not been proven, just for our audience, this has not been proven, but people keep mentioning Diddy's name. I saw it trending on Twitter, and Keefe D has gone on record to express that he felt that Diddy was somewhat a part of it and in XYZ. You at least hearing that, how does that make you feel? And if we later find out there might be some truth to that, like what is your takeaway from it? Just hearing that that rumor floating around.
I don't have to do anything. This individual mentioned dude's name. Okay. Law enforcement has a job to do. Will they do it? It does feel like, Pac is being vindicated because, back in them days when things were going down, everybody thought he was crazy. He may not have expressed it properly, but that don't mean he was wrong. You dig?
Right.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Now, one thing, there was a quote that I came across. Ironically, it came from like Mr. Rogers. Remember, you ever watched Mr. Rogers as a kid growing up?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, he's full of feel goods and full of like different wisdom. And he said there was a quote about evil, and that the one thing that evil hates, or one thing that evil does not like, is forgiveness. Have you found a place that where you forgive the men that, or women or whoever, right, is behind the murder of your brother Tupac? Would you be able to forgive those people, and have you made for, where are you at with that?
Wow, that's a heavy question, brother. uh, I'm a spiritual person. I try to be a righteous person. And you know, but I'm just like everybody else. And forgiveness don't come easy. You have to work for it or something, or else, it's hard to forgive.
You know, the irony of all of this is that the same issues or the same thing that we would see that would happen to Tupac are the same things that are continuing today in hip hop, with these young rappers being killed for different reasons. You know, what made you, when your brother passed? I saw that you continued a rap career and you were dropping songs. What made you still want to stay connected and involved with the hip hop space when it took, someone that you loved away?
Hip hop was our baby. You know, we are that generation. We helped build that generation. Me, Pac, and the ones before us. So, you know, it's like we will always be part of this culture. And got to keep pushing. My father has a saying, straight ahead. Like you said, we are straight ahead, going straight ahead. We are strong people. We're going to survive. Pac had already accepted the fact and that, you know, he's a soldier. He was a soldier. Soldiers fight, soldiers die. He won't scared to die. And he always wanted to be immortal. So he is still being immortalized through my music, you know, our efforts in entertainment. He's a legend, you know.
No
He's the
doubt.
Dada.
No doubt. Now, in closing, you know, I mentioned that we still will experience the same things as in Pac's, you know, in terms of his killing. We experienced that just a few years ago when we lost Nipsey Hussle. People have compared. I actually got him on, or I had a shirt on earlier that has Nipsey on there, and people compare Nipsey and Pac in kind of, you know, in that order in terms of Nipsey being the next Pac. One thing that I noticed as a fan of Nipsey was that there was a lot of people that were giving him a lot of fake love. I would call it, right? That people that weren't really around and supporting him, kind of, you know, were saying, "Yo, I'm with Nipsey. I've been with him," and he, you know, ultimately was no longer here to really express confirmation of that. And I would imagine that the same probably happened for Pac. And in fact, you did an interview where you expressed that people said that they were at his bedside in the hospital that weren't really there. Um, Seeing what's going on now, are you seeing any fake love kind of fester still 27 years later in terms of Pac's, Pac's death?
Well, that part of it is par for the course, right? It's like dead or alive, Pac is and was a legend. People are attracted to power.
Mm.
Sometimes it's innocently, most of the times there's an agenda, but that's up to us to figure out. You know, we have to distinguish the real from the fake, you know, and it is challenging. And we do make mistakes. We let suckers slip in sometimes. But
Yeah.
it's par for the course when you are someone of note. Your name rings bells. You have success. People people will gravitate to that, you know.
Right.
That's
You
why,
know,
you know, I'm working on my memoir. My book comes out like early spring, This Thug's Life. And
okay.
you know, in there you'll see is there's some of that in there because it's you know, it's still the world. You know, the world is full of good and bad. And it's
No
a
doubt.
constant balance.
Now, there's been a few notable people.
Just kind of.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but you spoke on Nip. Shout out to Nip, his family. Nip was a good brother. You know, I was fortunate enough to do a show with him in Sweden. He was solid, and he had been down. He worked on one of my father's projects, Dare to Struggle, in the early days when he was a youngster. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, when he started coming up, you know, the hate comes and the love comes, and you have to distinguish.
Right. Now, as far as that relationship, has the family stayed in touch? Have you guys connected with his family? Like, has there been any of those kind of conversations?
Not that much, not that
Yeah.
much, because we weren't in tight contact. Just recently, my man Zaid, shout out to Zaid. You know, he's connected to the family, and you know, we need to link up. We haven't yet, but there's been so much going on
Yeah.
both sides. So much. trauma, and I get it. I know, I kind of feel what they're going through.
Yeah. Now, in closing, there was one person that kind of made some headlines for their reaction, and that was Jada Pinkett Smith. She would post on her Instagram page. She would say, "Now, I hope we can get some answers and have some closure." She would do R.I.P. Pac with a dub emoji. Has Jada been around in the scenes and contact with the family? Because we don't really know these things, but where's that relationship at in terms of Pac's estate and Jada Pinkett?
Shout out to Jada and Caleb. We're pretty cool, pretty tight with the Pinkett Smiths. I talk to Jada's brother quite often. We support the Smiths family. They support us. Yeah, Jada's right. Now maybe we can get some answers. And like I just showed you, there's still some questions to be answered. And I guess through this process, a lot more is going to come out. Indictment comes out to the public October 9th. There'll be more information. But those interviews and his book, all that's out there.
Right.
So
Right.
And this is my last question. What does the future of Pac legacy look like now that we've reached this chapter of his life?
wow, there's always there's always a lot going on. While we're getting through this, we're going to be you know, trying to show the world the depth of the family and the level of commitment from the family. My father just passed on, so we're going to be doing stuff with his work and his writings. And because everybody has questions, a lot of people usually have questions about the familial relationships. For a long time, people are like, I got a brother. I got a brother. It's been a long road, but we're gonna try to hold up the movement, the positivity, through all the bullshit that we were able to influence people with and by.
Yeah.
I think that your family, even before Pac, has instilled a level of fearlessness that I think we as a people should constantly be reminded of when it comes to our existence here in this country and across the world. So, again, like last time, Symphony, as I fill in for her in this interview, we appreciate your family and the work that you guys have done. We look forward to your future endeavors and just granting you and hoping and wishing you peace as you continue on in your journey in this lifetime. So thank you, Mr. Mopreem Shakur.
Appreciate you. We appreciate the people. We appreciate the love. Like my pop said, we're gonna be straight ahead with stiff resistance, and
Right.
we're gonna try to stand up, make our people proud.
Yep, and you guys have done that. And our motto here is to keep going, and that's what we'll do.